Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Snoo back again, and this time I'm bringing you a video about that which I am most known for in this community, or the Path of Exile community anyway. Currency earning strategy. Yes, we're going to be looking at making currency, or in this case, gold, because that's the currency, in Last Epoch. And we're going to be looking at a very high form of that, Legendary Slammed for profit. Slamming together a unique and an exalted item and then selling it on trade. Because I don't know if you've seen or not, but if you check the price of many legendary power uniques and cross-reference that with the price of some of the legendaries, actual finished legendaries with premium affixes, or even just one premium affix, you might notice something interesting. There's some profit windows involved, my friends, and I'm going to show you the exact strategy I've been using for the last day or two to start farming a bunch of currency, although I've been holding back because, as you can see in my stash, I have a bunch of loot here. We got a bunch of 1 LP Last Steps of the Living and a bunch of 1 LP Frostbite Shackles. And where do these drop? Well, they drop. I guess I can't show you. We're going to go over here, right? Yeah, let's go over here. Blood, Frost, and Death over here. And they drop off the last boss, Formosus. This has become a pretty standardized, popular farm. I don't think there's anything too extraordinary about it. It just happens to be where a lot of the ward-themed gear drops. And since ward is the meta, you got to chase the meta to make the profits, apparently. Also, I recommend getting either gloves or boots, or maybe even chest, improved drop rates from this blessing right down here to increase the number of, in my case, Frostbite Shackles. And sometimes, on rare occasion, you might even get one of these. A 2 LP Frostbite Shackles. This is worth 40 million gold straight up. And I will not be slamming this one because the stakes are high, and I would not do it without having a very, very good exalted gloves to pair with it, but definitely a pog moment. This is the second one of these I've dropped, and I have dropped a 2 LP Steps of the Living. How rare is that? You might be wondering. There's a website you can go to called, I guess in this case, Last Epoch Tools, or I'm using Maxroll apparently right here. You can use either website and you can get a sense of the LP chance in this case, the Last Steps of the Living, and I think the gloves are comparable. 1 in 5 will be 1 LP. 1 in 74 will be 2. Now, these chances are improved, I believe, if you're doing Circle of Fortune, but today we're talking about making currency, so in this case. And you can see 3 or 4 LP basically don't exist because they're incredibly rare. Well, 4 definitely doesn't. It might be a 3 LP, one of these floating around somewhere or not, but it would be an infinitesimal amount or infinite amount of gold for sure. I know many of you have been a little bit demoralized by what's been going on with the trade prices, chasing gear upgrades, suddenly just spiking in outrageous amounts of gold over time. It is absolutely a seller's market. I have too been a little bit demoralized until I figured out how to make a bunch of currency this way. And I know that I can absolutely chase my next upgrade, which is somewhere around 200 million gold apparently. Part of that's because, I've upgraded too much of my gear already. And part of that is because of the funny business going on in the market that's apparently driving the cost up outrageously. So, before we get started, I should say as we get started, if you want to know how to even look up these items, you go over here. We're checking boots here. I'm going to use Last Steps of the Living as an example. And we're going to check the uniques, and we can see, there it is, check it. And if we just do a quick search, we'll see, and we'll go to gold low to high. And we'll set it to unique first. We'll see they're not worth anything. Well, that's with 0 LP, so we got to go to 1 LP, means legendary power, and we can see that's not really even worth picking up for most people. So some of you might be thinking, well, 1 LP, who cares, right? Well, I'm going to show you why 1 LP is actually worth a lot on average, because all we need to do, first of all, you can obviously see that 2 LP is worth something. But if you want to see the potential, the real potential of a 1 LP Last Steps of the Living in this case, what you need to do is you need to go to Legendaries. In this case, I like to go high to low. And I start looking around. I start seeing what what is going on here? Are there any common trends that I'm seeing here? Are there any that appear to be worth it? I don't know if 100% sure if these are selling, but you can kind of get a sense, especially if you keep an eye on it, if there is an active market going on. And I'm noticing the experimental mod, minions teleport around, you have to use traversal skill. Isn't that highly synergetic with one of the meta builds, with the Wraith Lord build, if I'm not mistaken? That makes sense. So even if you don't know a lot about all the different builds here, you can kind of see the trends building here. Obviously, movement speed can be very strong. It looks like 2 are coming up over and over and over again at a high price. It would be movement speed or the one that spawns minions. And just to double check, you can go in here and you can, you know, literally just type it out and see what you find. And if I go here and check low to high, that looks like a pretty solid market going on there. And suddenly, 5 million gold at the minimum. Wow. Let's check movement speed then. Oh, by the way, that was tier 1, so I should actually check higher tiers, right? So we can go to tier 5. You need it to be exalted. In my case, I'm going to be using tier 6 plus movement speed exalted boots, 4 million minimum. I think I will actually go back in and double check this mod. First of all, tier 6, I mean, good luck. But we can check tier 5. That's worth a lot. How about tier 4? That's a lot. Now, you might think you have to be incredibly lucky to get this mod on here. However, I saw a cool little video from Rax, the content creator Rax. I will link you the video about a tool that is used. Incredibly recommend this tool, lastepoch.tonklab.com. And this can deterministically show you exactly what mod you would spawn into boots, gloves, or belts, in which case, for what we're looking at today, 2 of those 3 matter a great deal. And what I'm talking about is slamming items with Glyph of Insight to force an experimental mod on there. There's actually 100% determinism in this craft. So a lot of you don't know that. And it just so happens that the legendary slam that we're going for involves this both for boots and for gloves, which are 2 of the big items that drop off for Moses. In which case, for the gloves, I'm not going to show you to save time in the video, but you can probably guess the slam to frostbite shackles. You're going to be going for the ward life switch, you know, low life setup, and that is an experimental mod. This mod right here, 8% of current health loss per second, and you'll see if you were to go check that on the trade or in the merchant guild, you would see that it's worth millions of gold. I think in excess of 10 million if you hit even like a tier 4. And in the case of Last Steps to Living, we already checked that. And then there's another item called Exsanguinous, and I didn't actually showcase it, but in that Echo, where Formosus is the boss of that Echo, that monolith, rather, this chest drops somewhat frequently because it is selectively unique and or set chest rewards. So I unfortunately do not have a single LP of this chest. Haven't seen one in a long time. But even 0 LP is worth hundreds of thousands of gold right now. And if I did have it, I would probably craft this chest here. So why do I have a bunch of exalted items sitting next to these? Well, I have to slam them in. And one major catch here is that if you want to create a legendary for yourself, no big deal. You know, you got the items, you can make it for yourself. Doesn't matter how you got them. But if you wanted to trade it, you need both the unique item and the exalted item to be tradable at the time when you slam it. That's a big catch, and that's one of the reasons why the legendaries are a fair bit more expensive, because you do have to put in a little bit of work to do that. So how do you manage that? Well, have a good loot filter. I suppose I will link my loot filter in the description. There are different places to get good loot filters. Apparently there's a community project making good loot filters right now as well. People can look around that in the comments. Somebody will say something, I'm sure, in the comments. But for my case, this is very simple. All I need to do, well, some of these are already finished, but in this case, I'm going to start with this, and I want to put on the ward mod. It just so happens that based on the tool, it's best if you can start, well, actually, if you can start with a tier 7. Let me see if I can find a tier 7 one here. No, apparently not. That's all right. Tier 6 works too. And I need to have my suffix, and my suffix is lined up together. And anyway, this is all kind of shown through this here. If you line this up, if we check gloves, and if I go down here, and this is what I have right now, it will need to be rank 1 if I do this. Okay, check a sealed tier. Anyway, if I maneuver things around, I can force it to spawn on there. It would be tier 2 here. And I can manipulate this to roll, in many cases, tier 3, 4, or even tier 5. I will probably get either tier 3 or tier 4 on this case. Again, watch Rax's video if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now. That will shed some light on what I'm talking about. So, that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and craft all these up. Get them slam ready. So we'll see what I get in just a second. Alright, I got the crafting done. A little more painful than I anticipated. I lost a few gloves and even a pair of boots here in the process, but I do have some good stuff going on. We got, let's see, a tier 4, tier 5, tier 4, and tier 2. We're going for here on the 1 in 4 chance of a slam. In the case of the boots, basically it's kind of 50-50. I think the minions will result in more gold earned, but we got some nice movement speed combined with minions as a chance. Tier 4 on all of the minions, I think, and tier 6 on all of the movement speeds, if I'm not mistaken. Forgot to mention earlier, I got a jeweler. As this drops off of the boss, we need to go kill now. How many times? 11 times, apparently, because I'm going to be doing 11 legendary attempts. And this item drops off there, and it happens to be a very, very worthy legendary contender. If you can get a tier 6 or tier 7 chance to shred armor on hit, worth a few million, and that can be an easy way to make a little bit of added cash. Can't search shred armor on hit on the auction house, apparently. Still bugged, can't even search that one. But it doesn't matter because you kind of need to drop it anyway in order for this to work. For a Mad Alchemist Ladle, I kill a lot of mad scientists or those experimental scientists out in Echoes, so I see a lot of these. 1 or 2 LP. Apparently a crit multi and necrotic pen is decent for this. Not a huge amount of moneymaker potential here, but a little bit. Anyway, now we're going to go do some dungeons. 11 times Temporal Sanctum. And I'm going to show you what the results are. I'll show you about approximately how much gold I made just from these 1 LP slams. Again, fairly common uniques if you target far enough. All right, hey, I'm done. I got it through. And I got to say, I was a little bit unlucky, actually. It was about even, maybe. Let me show you what happened. We have the Mad Alchemist. Did not hit the crit multis. Basically not worth anything. I price checked some of the things. This ended up being worth more than I expected. The 1 Jewelers, I did hit a T6 shred armor. This is legit about 10 million gold right here. Miss on that. The hybrid's going to be maybe sellable, but still kind of a miss. And now we got a T6 movement speed. It's around 3 million here. And then I did get one of the tier 4 minions. This is around 6 million-ish, somewhere in there. We have a hybrid for the Frost Shackles, a miss. And we did get one big hit here. I think this is a tier 4. Yeah, tier 4. This one's a little hard to price check, probably somewhere around 15 mil. And that's a miss. That's a miss. And this was just another one of these that I got off of the Temporal Sanctum boss. So, basically, four big hits. And the boots were kind of 50-50. The gloves were a 25% chance. So yeah, not too shabby. Cool 35 mil-ish gold made there. And it is a little bit of work because, I do have to find the bases. But on that note, big tip is kind of a side point. Pick up every single tier 7 you have for the boots and the glove slams. You basically want any tier 7 prefix. You can probably work in a tier 4 or tier 5 experimental mod using the crafting tool that I mentioned. Again, check out the description. Rax's video is great. It goes over that. Take a look around the internet. find good loot filters going on. I will have mine linked down below, but it is specific for rogue loot. But at least it does show every single tier 7 affix that drops, and I think everyone should at least reveal that so you can get a sense and learn what's valuable in the market the authentic way, preferably. But anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this little currency earning session. No, I didn't earn 35 million gold in like 1 hour because, you know, it involved farming and stuff, but putting it all together, that's going to go a long ways, and I will be at over 100 million gold now for the first time. It'll be well on my way to getting that 200 mil upgrade. Hopefully it stays at 200 mil. I don't know. We'll see. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.